Welcome back to Let's Talk to the Experts. Well, tonight we are going to get to know a new nonprofit. It's called Youth Act, Youth Anti-Crime Trust. And joining me in studio right now is Michael Miles, and he's a member of the board of directors for Youth Act. Michael, I'm curious. We have a number of nonprofits. We have a number of initiatives that have been set up and designed to address the issues of youth. Right. Why another one? Why this one?
Because this one is special. You know, this one is going to go way above and beyond the call of duty. The folks that we have on this board, we're tired of sitting back and just watching nonprofits start up and kind of fall to the wayside. So we've kind of, you know, taken the bull by the horns and say, you know, we need to do something about crime in this country. But our job isn't to build another facility, lock children up. Our job is to now focus more on education and also partnerships. You know, we believe that the key to this right now is making sure that our young people are educated on the decisions that they're making.
Okay, and in the spirit of transparency, I'm also a member of Youth Act's board, and so I'm familiar with the work that's taking place.
Right.
Now, one of the things that Youth Act is doing is you're taking recommendations, because we have lots of reports, and lots of consultants have come down, and lots of recommendations have been made.
For the last 10 years, all I've done is collect reports. I mean, you know, like what you mentioned before, I've been doing this a very long time. And, you know, over the last 10 years, our government have invested, I know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in developing reports, in man hours, and doing a lot of research. And quite often, a lot of that stuff goes to the wayside. So when I looked at how do we put this in perspective, I needed to get the right people in the right places. And, you know, obviously, you know, you were one of those people that I felt that we needed to push this differently. And, you know, between yourself, Bonnie Anglin, Joy Bastillo, and Paula, and we know now that once we can look at the recommendations of those reports, this stuff is easy. You know, the reports have already done all the research. Our job now is to do the implementation bit.
And in terms of implementing and looking at the recommendations, where does Youth Act go as far as implementing its first project? You
know, 3 years ago when I got into the ministry, our chief officer, Mrs. Mayor Rodriguez, called me and said, listen, you know, 6 months ago, we met some folks from Jersey and the UK, and there's a program that we believe, it's a wonderful education program that we believe that could be powerful among our young people. I started doing the investigations, the research, spoke to the folks in Jersey and the UK, and it was a sound program. We knew that we needed to Kimonize it. However, like many things, it goes from one discussion to another discussion because you rely on so many outside agencies to help with this process. And when they don't want to play ball with education, it makes it very tough. In March of 2011, we went on a fact-finding mission to Jersey and the UK, and I was overwhelmed with joy that finally we had seen something that worked. All we had to do was Kimonize it, and that's what this is all about.
Okay, and just to give our viewers a picture of what this program looks like, we actually have a video that's of the program in the UK, and it'll give you a sense of what they've done there. But again, as Michael said, we're Kimonizing it so that it fits within this market. Take a look. All right, so that's kind of a take on what was done in the UK and in Jersey. One of the things that he talked about was the multi-agency approach. So it wasn't just the Ministry of Education taking on this initiative or simply just a nonprofit that's taking on the initiative, but there's a number of stakeholders involved.
Yes. We've known for years, Tasha, that education alone will not solve the problem. Social services or RCIPS independently, they're not going to solve this problem. The prison system, they're not going to solve the problem. But together, we can actually have a better impact. And what the folks have done in Jersey and the UK is develop their partnerships. And I mean, I was, you know, as I mentioned, I was overwhelmed by just seeing great partnership. Police partnering with educators, educators partnering with fire officers, you know, with police officers. I mean, it was so unique. I believe that we can have a better showing than what we've seen in Jersey and the UK. I believe that our professionals are very highly skilled, very highly qualified. Now it's time for us to put all of that in gear. For the last 6 months, what have taken me by myself 2.5 years to create Youth Act, our foundation did it in 6 months. By yourself, with Bonnie coming in and, adding folks like Ms. Basde or Todad. I mean, I struggled to get Youth Act off the ground. I struggled to get people to the table. Now people are here, and we're excited that we're now at this point.
Okay. Now later on in the show, we're going to hear from some of the facilitators who are going to be involved in educating and bringing knowledge to light through this initiative. What's next? I mean, you've got a pilot coming up. What's that going to look like? What's going to happen with Youth Act in the next few weeks?
We have scheduled our first crime prevention day or crime awareness day. And what that's typically about is that, in a year, and from 2010 to 2011, we've doubled in crime among young people. We went from I think it was like 150 incidents among young people to over 300. All right, so the problem is there. We also know where the problem is with the statistics that we have. Certainly, all of the consultant reports that we've compiled over the last 10 years. We know what we now need to attack. So we've gone to the sources, which is the professionals. The school isn't going to generate any of this. We're bringing in all of these agencies.
So what you need to attack in terms of the specific areas that need to be addressed.
Absolutely. I mean, we cannot do it like what Jersey have done because their issues are different from ours. So on May 31st, we're doing our first crime awareness day. We're targeting a specific population because one of the age groups that I think that's normally forgotten is that 12 to 14 age group. We've seen that the majority of those kids are starting to experiment either with drugs, antisocial behavior, with alcohol, but there's no education. We don't actually catch those kids until they're 15, 16, or 17 years old, when they've pretty much either gotten addicted, gotten kicked out of school, or have made such a mess of their lives that it's just harder to get them back focused. So, we're targeting that year 8 group, and, we have a full line of seminars that we can now show them.
All right, and when we return, we're going to take a look at those seminars by talking to one of the facilitators and find out how Youth Act is going to target and address the issue of bullying within our school system. Stay with us.